So we're focusing on elbows and knees today. And what you'll notice is that the biggest issue with elbows and knees is that they are hinge joints, which means they don't rotate very well. And when we put external forces on them that are more than they can handle, they will tend to get injured really easily. So what we want to do today is just focus on the skill of disassociating the elbow and knee joint from the bigger joints that they're attached to. So for the elbow, we're really going to focus on the skill of isolating it or disassociating it from the shoulder. And for the knees, isolating or disassociating it from the hip. And also a little bit the ankle here too. So you're going to get a good little work for your joints, but it's mostly going to be about learning a new skill today. So let's start with our elbows. And the first thing we want to do, I want to make sure you can see this pretty well. First thing I want you to do is just take one elbow and pin it to your side. Meaning I want contact between your elbow and either your hip or your waist, wherever that is. I'm going to grab one thing, sorry. If you have like a ball of some sort, what I would recommend is putting it up against your body and just making sure that it doesn't fall. So making sure it's right up against your elbow, and now if your elbow comes off your body, that ball is going to drop, so you have a good external reference for that. And we're just going to focus on the two movements or some of the movements that the elbows make. We're going to talk about pronation. So pronation is when you bring your thumb inwards. So it's an internal rotation of that thumb and the forearm. And then supination, I guess it's better if I turn this way, is when you turn that thumb outward. You'll notice that you get a lot more pronation than supination. Supination kind of ends there. So we're going to practice this. I want you to just try 5 to 10 pronation, supination. And you can use that ball, or you can just pin your elbow to your side and just work on coming in and out. Keep going with that one, and when you finish, switch to the other side. Again, keeping that elbow pinned into your side. Where you're going to see this the most, or one example of this pronation, supination, is when you're in a forearm plank here. It's probably easier to keep your thumbs up to the ceiling than to keep your hands flat down, because it requires 90 degrees of supination, which a lot of people don't have, and that's fine. Okay, so now that you've gotten an understanding of what pronation is and what supination is, try both hands and just notice if there's a difference in one as opposed to the other. So you'll probably see that my left has a little less pronation than my right. Okay, now's the tricky part. Now's where we start to really try and disassociate this forearm and elbow from the shoulder. Because what you're going to want to do when you straighten your arms out is to rotate and turn everything in. But, and I'm not sure if this is going to help, but I'm going to try. I want you to find the inside crease of your elbow, and I'm going to make a little black dot so it's easy for you to follow and make a bigger one. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. Pin that into your side, and without letting this elbow crease turn in, so that means not using your shoulder, you're going to, can you see? I think you can see pretty well. I'll back up. You're going to pronate, so turn the thumb in as far as you can. You can still see that black dot here, and then supinate out. This also means you don't want to turn the shoulder all the way out. Make sure you can still see that black dot. And if this helps, go ahead and draw on yourself. We're going to try 5 to 10 of these. And try to avoid any kind of like weird finger stuff. You can even make a little fist if that makes things a little bit easier. And what you're going to notice, your forearm, your bicep, and your tricep are going to start to light up. So we're really using a ton of muscles to stabilize the shoulder and act at the elbow joint and the forearm. Good, go to the other hand. I'm not putting a black dot on this one, but you can also, if you want, put your hand right on your elbow crease and just make sure that it doesn't rotate in. So try 5 to 10 of those. Again, keeping the elbow pinned into your side and going nice and slow. Awesome. If you feel like you've got that down, we can move on to the next thing. If you're really struggling with this movement, I want you to keep practicing those. Even if every time you practice, you're messing it up just a little bit, that's fine. You have to do it wrong a ton of times to be able to get it right. So keep practicing that if it's proving to be really, really challenging. We're going to move on to the elbow cars or elbow circles. So this, you'll need to have a good concept of how to disassociate from the shoulder joint. But keep following along and see how this feels. So we're going to bring the arm up to our side, and I want you to think about keeping that elbow crease, again, straight up to the ceiling. So I don't know, you can kind of see that black dot pointing up to the ceiling. Now the challenge here is going to be not opening the shoulder all the way up. So keeping it out of the shoulder, we're going to start by supinating, so pull the thumb back, keep the elbow crease forward, don't let it move up to the shoulder, and then continue to supinate as you contract the bicep. So you're doing like a bicep curl. Imagine you're moving through mud, contract, supinating the whole time. So there's a little bit of rotational movement. Then hold here. We're going to pronate, so turn the thumb in, and then extend back out. Again, all of this is happening from the elbow down. Good. Supinate, turn the thumb out. I'm going to get a little bit closer so that you can kind of see a little bit better. Turn the thumb out. Pull in, contract that bicep. And then pronate, turn out, palm faces forward, extend back out. Nice job. We're going to go in reverse now. So start from a neutral position, thumb up to the ceiling, pronate, don't let the elbow crease turn in, bicep curl while you pronate. You might feel some weird clicking in here. That's okay as long as it doesn't hurt. Now supinate and extend. If that shoulder, upper arm is starting to light up, you're doing it right. Good. Let's go ahead and pronate again. So extend that arm all the way out. Bicep curl. You might feel some tingling in the fingers. Supinate and extend back out. Nice. Let's try the other side. Let me scooch over. All right, so this one's got the black dot, so maybe this will be a little bit easier for you to see. Okay, we're going to start by supinating. Make sure that you can see all of me here. Okay. Sorry, Instagram, you're only getting shoulder to hand. That's all you need. Supinate by turning the thumb out. Keep that elbow crease up. Bicep curl in. And I'm getting a lot more clicking on this side than I am on the other side, so I know what I need to work on. We're going to pronate, turn the thumb in, and extend out. One more. Might feel a little bit of clicking on that inside part of the elbow, maybe the outside part of the elbow. Supinate, curl in, pronate, extend out. Good. All right, let's reverse direction. So come back to your neutral position. We're going to pronate. Don't let that elbow crease come up. Fight it. Bicep curl. Supinate. Extend. Pronate. Ooh, I can feel this in my fingers. You can make a little fist if you're feeling some tingling in the fingers. Bicep curl. Pronate. Extend. Awesome job, good. Shake those arms out. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. And if you have your hammer available or a dumbbell available, now would be the time to take it out. This one is more of a strengthening exercise. So the heavier this is, the harder it's going to be. I would go with something really, really light to start because you don't know where you are with this. And we're just going to work on pronation and supination with a little bit of a weight. So arm is going to be out. You can keep a little bend in that arm if that feels a little bit better, because after a while it might get tiring in the shoulder just holding your arm out. So if you want a little bend in the elbow, that's okay. But again, keeping that inside crease of the elbow pointing upwards, we're going to pronate. You can also do this here. If you have a chair, you can also do this on a chair so that you don't even have to hold anything up. So elbow crease forward. You're going to pronate as far as you can. Fight it slow on the way down, and then pull your way back up. Supinate out. Watch that shoulder. So this is a nice little passive stretch to either side on the way down, and then strength on the way up. Try that 3 times on each side, and then switch sides. And you only need to come to 90 degrees. If you have more, just come to 90 degrees. You don't need to go anymore. Let's try the other side without the chair. So that way you can feel what it's like to stabilize that arm without any help. Pronate in. Supinate out. Good. If you have something nice and long and a little bit more space, like a big stick or a dowel or something, that's another good option to do this with, because then you have a different kind of weight and different kinds of tension. And this is a good way to strengthen that forearm, strengthen the wrist, keep the elbow nice and healthy. Good. Okay, go ahead and put those away. Grab your chair, and we're going to come to a seated position. Try to turn to the side so you can kind of see all of this. We're going to work our knees now. So the first thing we want to understand is that in order to disassociate our knees from our hips, ooh, look at my knees already, we have to keep our knees somewhat bent. The minute you lock your knee out and you try and turn your knee, it's going to turn your hip too. So only by keeping our knees slightly bent are we going to be able to work just the knee on down. So let's start by grabbing this leg, keeping it somewhat elevated. You can also do this on the ground if you're a little bit more flexible through your hamstrings, but I'm just going to show you in a chair since this is probably the easier position. So we're going to hold that leg up, again keeping the knee nice and bent, and we're going to start by rotating out. So this is kind of like supinating the arm. What we're not doing, we're not focusing on turning the ankle. We're focusing on turning this tibia. So let me get my marker again. I'm going to make a straight line, find the blade of my bone all the way down, and make a straight line. So this is what I'm trying to turn. I'm trying to turn this line, this side, and to this side. My foot and ankle are going to go with it, but that's not the primary goal. So I'm going to rotate out, and then I'm going to extend out through my knee, not all the way, you don't want to lock it out, and then I want to turn my tibia away and pronate it, and then pull it back in. So these are just like those elbow cars, but with knees. Turn the tibia out, extend, turn it, rotate it in, and flex. Let's try one more time. Out, extend, in, and flex. It's not going to go very far. I know it feels very frustrating because you're like nothing's happening. It's a very small little rotational movement because like I said, your knee, just like your elbow, is a hinge joint. It's really only meant to come in and out like this. It's not, doesn't do a whole lot of rotation. All right, sticking with that same leg, let's go in the opposite direction. So we're gonna turn in, extend, turn out, and flex. 2 more. In, extend, ooh, something already cracked, and flex. In, you can kind of feel how this is connected to your ankle, but we're focusing on that tibia. Nice. You might be getting a few cracks in there. As long as it doesn't hurt, keep going with these cars. Other side. Rotate in and flex. Externally rotate and flex. I'm sorry. Rotate in and extend. Rotate out and flex. 1 more. In, extend, out, and flex. So we're just kind of seeing, we're trying to maintain that range of motion in our knee, trying to see how much range of motion we have, and then in just a second we're going to work on strengthening it so that you can strengthen it at different angles and you can withstand different forces. So 3 more, but in the other direction. We're going to, which way did we start? We'll do it this way. I think we did it the other way. We're going to extend, rotate out, extend, rotate in, and flex. Rotate out, extend, rotate in, and flex. And if this is a confusing movement for you, imagine that you're not just turning the toes in, but you're pushing the heel out. So imagine this whole thing is turning this way. So as you rotate your toes in, your heel is coming out, and then you're pushing up through that ankle. As you rotate the toes out, your heel rotates in, and you come back through flexion. Awesome. Okay, let's stand up and let's do some work. So we want to make sure that we have access to all different kinds of ranges of motion in our knee. That way when we're cutting and running and doing all kinds of things, we can withstand different kinds of forces. In order to do that, we also need to strengthen up the muscles around those joints. So we're going to try a little experiment. I might have to adjust my camera here. There we go. Okay. So make sure you still have access to your chair for balance. And we're going to work on bringing that knee up to the chest. And we're just going to simply be extending out through this leg. I want you to try and put a finger on your knee and see if when you extend this leg out, you can keep that knee from dropping down. This is really hard. It's going to really fire up this quad. Let's try 5 on each side. Put a finger here. Extend, try to get to at least 90% extension and come back. Extend and come back. Try not to let this leg get too soft. Extend and come back. Woo boy, can we feel it? Extend, come back. 1 more. Here we go. Extend, come back. Nice. Shake that out. Other side. Bring that knee up, and you'll feel the difference on one side and the other probably. Here we go. Extend through that knee, and come back. If that thigh starts to cramp up a little bit, just extend a little bit less. You might feel a little bit of cramping, and that's okay. That's just a lot of neurological signals going to your thigh. Just do a little bit less. Good, let's try 3 more. Oof. Every time it gets a little bit harder. Good, really try and stabilize this upper thigh. 1 more. Wow. Nicely done. Okay. Finally, working on those same knee hinges, but we're going to do it behind us. So we're going to step, let me make sure that you can see all of me here. We're going to step 1 foot back slightly. And I want you to make sure that your low back doesn't arch here. So squeeze those glutes. And you're going to come back to this position after every rep. So you're never going to bring your foot back here. You're going to stay back here. If you need a little marker, put your leg back, and then place a little mark here to make sure, turn that over, place a little marker there so that you know not to come any farther forward than that. So, extending that leg, we are going to hinge at the knee and then push back through the heel to come down. You're going to feel now that hamstring start to light up. Pull up through the knee and come back down. Again, watch that low back. If you let your core go here, try to readjust that so this stays nice and tight. And we're going to do 5, so one more. Nice. We're trying to touch our heel to our butt. Okay, last one. Working that knee hinge. Step that leg back, little bit of extension. We don't want to extend the belly, so pull that in nice and tight. Here we go. And we're going to curl the knee up, hinging at the hips. I'm sorry, hinging at the knee. I say hinging at the hips so often that it's just become my go-to apparently. Good. We're gonna do 2 more. I think we're right on track there. Nice, good. Shake out those legs, and we are done.